Guys, we are going to be making this adorable card holder from Parker on the Porch. I added the name. I'm going to show you how to add the name in Embrilliance. Here's what the front looks like. Here's what the back looks like, and you can put cards in here. So join me at the computer and I will show you how you do this. Okay, here is the design, the Parker on the Porch design that I brought up into Embrilliance software. We are going to go ahead and add a name down here, and I'm going to show you how to do that in the software. So you go up here to this little A up here. That's how you add lettering, and it brings in ABC. You come over here to the right in this text, and you just go ahead and delete and put in here what you want. I want Miranda, and then just hit enter. So I went ahead and entered that. Now I'm going to just pull this down. You just go ahead and click on here and you can pull the whole thing down. Now you can see this is too big for our design. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. If you go into fonts right underneath here, you'll see it brings up a lot of fonts. If you just went ahead and purchased this Embrilliance software, or if you're using the trial version, then you'll have a few stock fonts in here. I have a lot of fonts in here that I've purchased, and I always look for the BX file type, because Embrilliance allows you to load BX font types inside the software, and then you can just type the letters in and it puts them together. You can still use fonts that aren't BX supported. Say, for example, your machine uses PES files, then you would have to bring in the M and then bring in the I and then bring in the R. You have to bring in each letter individually that way. I like the BX fonts because it lets you just type and it brings in all the letters for you. Okay, so I went ahead and used Love and Sunshine right here. If I go ahead and go down to the 1/2 inch, you can see that it's smaller and it fits in here. If you don't want to adjust sizing of a font, then I would go ahead and do that. I actually am going to make this the 1 inch one, and then I'm just going to reduce it some. Another thing that Embrilliance does is it like takes out stitches if you're making things smaller, or adds stitches if you're making things bigger. It does give you a little bit of resizing ability. Now I wouldn't do it too much because it will alter the design and it might not look as great, but if you're just sizing a little bit, then it usually works perfectly fine. So I'm going to go over here. I can toggle right here. See how my mouse is changing? And I'm just going to pull this down a little smaller, and then I'm going to pull this over. Okay. So that is pretty much what I want. And you can see that the stitches went down. It doesn't have as many stitches because it reduced the file. The other thing you can see right here that I'll show you, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but you see all these little green squares. You can move these letters individually if you pick one of these. See how you can move one letter if you wanted these all to be closer or touching. That's how you move each letter individually. And then sizing, you click on the design, you pick one of these squares and you size. If you do this, it lets you rotate like that. So that's just a little bit how to maneuver some of the letters, how to put lettering in here. I'm not going to go into super depth on this, but we got the name in here. I'm going to go ahead and save now. So I'm going to go up to File. I'm going to save Stitch File As. I'm going to go ahead and name this Miranda. And then I'm just going to save it to my desktop for now. You can go ahead and put a thumb drive in and save it to your thumb drive. Just save it to wherever you want it to be. Make sure it's the file type that your machine reads. I have a Baby Lock Spirit, so mine reads a PES file because it's a brother, or a Baby Lock, sorry. And I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And now it is on my desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and close here, and I will meet you at my machine and I'll show you how to stitch this. Okay, I have the design loaded on my machine. I have my 4x4 hoop with 1 sheet of tearaway. I'm going to go ahead and stitch the very first step, which is the placement, and I'll come back and show you. Okay, there's what your placement stitches look like. Now I'm going to go ahead and take this vinyl. This is what I'm going to use. This is the white Geo vinyl from mypunkbroidery.com. I really like this vinyl a lot. I like it for keychains. I like it for anything that's flat. I don't love it for bags, but I love it for everything else. So I use this vinyl all the time. So you're going to go ahead and get a big enough piece of whatever you're using to cover all your placement stitches, and then go ahead and stitch step 2, which is the first big arch of the rainbow. Okay, that's what the first arch of the rainbow looks like. Now we're going to go ahead and stitch step 3, which is the next arch. And I'm going to go ahead and switch my colors and stitch that. I'll come back and show you. Okay, that's what it looks like so far. I'm going to go ahead and stitch step 4, which is the third arch of the rainbow. I'll come back and show you. And that's what we look like so far. Now I'm going to go ahead and stitch step 5, which is another arch of the rainbow. I'll come back and show you what it looks like. There we are so far. So step 6 is going to be to stitch the heart. So I'm going to go ahead and change my thread and stitch that. I'll come back and show you. Okay guys, this is what it looks like so far. Now the next step that comes up on the machine is going to go ahead and finish steps of the design. But we want to do one more stitching on top. We want to put that name on there. So the way that you get to it is, I'm going to close this. You'll probably come in here. You need to find the plus and minus stitch, the needle with the plus and minus. It brings you into your things that you can change. So within a step, you can go backwards 1 stitch, you can go backwards 10 stitches, you can go backwards 100 stitches, or 500 stitches. And these are just going forward that many stitches within a stitch. That's the needle. Now, if you want to jump entire steps, you can see we are on step 7 of 9. I'm going to go ahead and come down here, the ones with the spool, you're going to jump an entire step. So I'm going to skip step 7. We'll come back to it, but we want to find our name. So I'm going to do that, and there's our name. Step 9 is our name. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that name, and then we will go back to step 7, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and change my thread, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch that. I'll come back and show you. Okay, that's what it looks like right there. Okay, so now I'm going to turn my hoop upside down onto the back like this. Now you want to cover this whole thing with whatever you're going to use. I'm going to use more geo vinyl. You're going to want to cover the whole thing and tape it down. I'm going to go ahead and just tape down like this. I just use Scotch tape. You can use whatever works for you. Scotch tape works fine for me. Okay. Now we're going to put it back on our hoop. And you can always check underneath to make sure that it stayed. I always kind of make sure that my tape didn't come up. Now we're going to go back in designs. It's going to say that you finished sewing because we went to that last step to get the name. I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm going to go back to this spool right here and I'm going to jump steps backwards. So I'm going to do the minus spool. If you watch up here, there's step 9 and 9. We did the name. There's step 8 of 9 we need to still do, and there's step 7 of 9. This is the step we need. You need to go back to step 7. You need to put a full piece of whatever you're using to cover your placement on the back, and then you need to go ahead and run step 7. Okay, that's what it looks like right there. So you need to go ahead and pull this off. You need to flip it over to the back. Now you can see, I'm trying to get my other piece right here. I'm going to make sure this goes across the whole thing. Yeah, it does. Okay, so you can see that there's this little stitch down here that's lower than this. That's where it's showing you to place your next vinyl piece because we're going to make the pocket now. So you need a piece of vinyl big enough to go over all your placement stitches, and you need to line it up along that bottom line right there. And then you need to tape it. And then we're going to put it back on our hoop and make sure that it doesn't pull up when you put it back on your hoop. And then we're going to go ahead and run the last step, which is step 8. And I will come back and show you. Okay, this is what mine looks like taped. You can see that I'm on the lower line right there. And I just make sure that I have a big enough piece. I'm just using scraps that I have. And then I'm going to flip it over. Make sure you have a straight edge up here. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to put it back on my machine. Okay, and then I'm going to look underneath my hoop and make sure that it feels all bumpy. So I'm going to make sure that it's right. And once it's all flat and fine, then I'm going to go ahead and stitch step 8. Okay, guys, this is what our design looks like right here. Here's the front. Here's what the back of the hoop looks like. You have a little pocket right here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take this off of our hoop. We're going to take the tearaway off. And I always get these little pieces out while it's not cut before it's cut, okay? And I'm going to take some scissors, take whatever scissors you want, and I'm going to cut around this whole design, okay? So I'm just going to... Almost done. All right, there we are. There's the front. There's the back, okay? And then you can go ahead and put an eyelet in here. I'm going to show you a couple ways. There's a couple things. So if you buy the eyelets that are just in themselves, I go ahead, I use this crocodile right here. It's called a crocodile. And I go ahead and there's a hole punch on each side, and then there's a setter in the middle. I just go ahead and punch it out. Take the excess off. You take your eyelet, you put it in, and then you take this and you put it in like that, and then you just squeeze and it sets it, and then you have a chain. The other thing you can do, there's a lot, I wasn't really finding these ones anymore, and the way that they were coming this way is like in a kit like this. So this was a kit I got. So you take one of these set a little different, so I'm going to show you that way too. So you have this little thing that cuts it, the vinyl, so you can put something underneath here if you're going to cut, like a cutting mat or something. But you do this, and then you take a hammer and hit it, and it makes the hole if you don't have a crocodile. And then you set it with this thing right here. So you go ahead and put in what one you want. I'm going to do this yellow like this. So I push it through, and then it comes with these backs right here. You just get one of these. Okay, and there's a right side and a wrong side. So the shinier side that's flat is the right side. So you put that face down like this around it. I put it on this little thing. You just set it in here like this. And then this setter right here has a hole. You put the hole in like that, so they're all together. Now it's going to be loud. Don't be mad at me. Don't come at me for being loud, but I'm going to hammer this real quick. Okay. And then what it does is it sets it. Okay. So now it's all set. It's all bent and put over. Okay. And then you can take one of your ball chains. And there you go. Super cute. So you can either buy these. Don't be afraid of them. It's not hard to set. It's a little different, but it's not hard to do. Or you can do these ones as well. I wasn't finding these ones anymore, so I had to buy these. Okay. And then you have a gift card, or you can put money, or you can put a cute little note in here, but your gift card goes in just like that. And then you can hang it on something, like it's cute to put on a little gift, or it's cute to put on a bag with a gift card. Super cute. So that's how you add a name. That's how you stitch this out. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and go ahead and follow. If you click on the little bell, it will notify you when I upload a new tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.